What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Musings of Maverick channel, and as you all can see, I am starting a new series, KonoSuba Season 1. So, this is the result of a poll I put up a few days ago. A lot of you guys voted, and in the end, the vote was for a comedy series, right? Which is kind of fitting, I guess, because the reason I'm doing this in the first place is because a lot of anime are being delayed due to the COVID-19 situation, and most of those anime that I was watching that were delayed were comedy series, right? So it's fitting that a comedy series is moving in to take its place. Not to mention, we could all use some laughs in this current state of affairs, right? Now, don't worry, since I'm sure that there's going to be lots other anime that's going to be delayed as well. Probably I will have some more stuff lined up, so you guys can look forward to that as well. And so comedy, why this one, right? Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it is something that I feel like I should watch, considering its reputation. In fact, I'm guessing that probably a lot of you guys are thinking, "Hey, Maverick, how come you have never watched this before?" Right? Well, I am more of a manga reader and a light novel reader than I am an anime watcher. So let's just say that I only really started getting into anime these past few years. It was a gradual kind of step forward. And, well, it's kind of cliche, but hey, you gotta know the classics first, right? Can KonoSuba count as a classic? Maybe. But yeah, I'll still be stylizing my videos as I usually do, with an introduction at the beginning, my blind reaction, and then of course a review portion at the very end there. Since this is a comedy series, I'm not really sure how much I can review on this. Typically, if I watch a fantasy or an isekai work or stuff like that, I like to go deeper into the mechanics of the world. Something that I really like to do is break down the systems of this particular setting, this particular novel. I have my doubts as to how big of a relevancy that's going to take in this series, but we shall see, right? And in terms of the introduction, well, honestly, I don't feel like this series needs too much introduction. It's very popular both in Japan, in the East, as well as in the West, right? It's not necessarily so for all anime. Some works are more popular in the West, and not so in Asia, and of course vice versa as well. KonoSuba seems to be one of those that everybody likes, right? It's made by Studio Dean, which honestly I haven't seen many of their works before. I actually have seen Rurouni Kenshin and Ranma, and I really enjoyed those works very much, but that's like old school, right? And I have high doubts that any of those original staff or influence were carried on to this work, which is back in, 2016? Something like that. So that is that. The voice actresses, I mean, again, we are going on 4 years old information, right? I'd venture a guess and say that this and ReZero are probably the series that launched the popularity of Takahashi Rei-chan. She is nowadays considered one of the top tier seiyus in the industry, but I would say that she got her big break from both KonoSuba and ReZero. Beyond that, solid list as well. We got Ho-chan, we got Sora-chan from Trisale, and we got Kayano Ai, right? So, yeah, not really that much else to say about that. I haven't watched any of the works from the directors or as well, so not really much to talk about there. Yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to enjoy this or not, right? It's a comedy, it's a parody. Typically, I like to watch my isekai works, my fantasy works that are more of a let's say you either go completely crazy with it, or you go with a more kind of mature theme. I really hate the goody two shoes kind of isekai protagonist, fantasy protagonist. Although, to what I've read so far and what I've seen so far, it seems that the main protagonist of this work is not going to be one of those goody two shoes anime protagonist. So hopefully this will be right up my alley. But anyways, that's it for an introduction. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. And yeah, by the way, I know that a lot of you guys have been recommending other works as well, including comedy works. I get that. I just kind of want to watch this series first. A popular online game that you need to go in person to pick up. Well, I guess they do have exclusive stuff, right? Now, I know a general synopsis of this, right? It's an isekai. Um, oh. Yeah, like I said, I know the beginning of this. It was in the synopsis. Right. So he got isekai, right? Well, can you consider this an isekai if you die first? I guess that works. Okay. Hmm. Then how did he die? Kind of shock? Well, I would agree. They wouldn't do that. Mhm. Alright. Just obviously trying to convince him to do something else. Do you have like a quota to meet or something, Aqua? Okay. I mean, he chooses her, right? Like I said, I read that in the synopsis already. Small text. This girl. I choose you. Huh? Oh, she can't actually refuse? Kazuma. I mean, I guess this is a play on, a lot of these kind of series that where a lot of these kind of web novels once they are reincarnated, they get to choose some stuff first. I think there's one problem with this plan, though. He never said that this goddess has to stay with him, right? Aqua doesn't necessarily have to stay with Kazuma here. And that angel's probably her subordinate, right? She's like, yes, I get to be the boss now. Anyways, as I was saying, this kind of setting is seen very often in a lot of web novels. The ones I like nowadays are ones that are getting very meta with it, right? Where the protagonist is actually aware of this kind of setting, and so uses it to sort of game the system, if you will. What? I'd be like,
収集するのがロールプレイングゲームでの定番だ。
ゲームオタクの引きこもりだったはずなのに、なぜこんなに頼もしいの？
because it's a game setting.
待って。女神様って呼んでくれてもいいけど、騒ぎにならないようにできればアクアって呼んで。
そうか。女神なら冒険者ギルド的な場所どこにあるかわかるんじゃないか？
女神なのよ。そんな下々のこといちいち知るわけないでしょ。
I mean, not necessarily every game has an adventurers guild, but I guess the predominant kind of in in Japanese RPGs do have one, or Japanese fantasy works, anyways.
おっくね。いらっしゃいませ。お食事なら空いてるお席へどうぞ。お仕事案内なら奥のカウンターへ。
Okay, so the adventurers guild also there's a tavern as well.
見かけねえ顔だな。それになんだその妙な格好は。
いや、実は遠くから来たばかりで、今この町に着いたところなんだ。俺も魔王軍と戦う冒険者になりたいんだ。
ああ、そうか、命知らずめ。ようこそ地獄の入り口へ。ギルド加入の受付ならそこだ。
Nice. Okay, it looks like this dude isn't useless.
その作り話とか、なんでそんなに手際がいいの？
いいか、アクア。今日はギルドへの登録と泊まるところの確保まで進める。
わかったわ。ゲームは知らないけど。
How are you gonna get money?
約束ってやつね。
そういうことだ。よし、行こう。
待って。こんなにできる男の感じなのに、なんで彼女も友人もいない引きこもりのオタクだったの？なんで毎日閉じこもって引きニートなんかやってたの？
引きニートはやめろ、クソビ。
It's exactly because he's a shut-in NEET that he's able to do this.
はい。今日はどうされましたか？
冒険者になりたいんですが。
そうですか。では最初に登録手数料がかかります。
はいはい。は、登録手数料。金って持ってる？
あんな状況でいきなり連れてこられて持ってるわけないでしょ。
こいつ使えねえ。
Yeah.
今考えてます。
ごゆっくり。
おい、どうしようか。いきなりつまずいた。普通は最
Yeah.
低装備が手に入ったり、生活費だってどうにか手に入るものなんだけど、不親切だぞ。
いきなり頼りがいがなくなったわね。まあしょうがないわね。引きニートだものね。
引きニート言うな。
いいわ。次は私の番ね。女神の本気を見せてあげるわ。
What?
そこのプリーストよ。宗派を言いなさい。私はアクア。そう、アクシズ教団の崇めるご神体、女神アクアよ。何時、もし私の
I don't.
お金を貸してくれ。
エリス教徒なんですが。
そうでしたか。すいません。
I mean,
あ、お嬢さん、アクシズ教徒なのかな。女神アクアと女神エリスは先輩後輩の間柄らしい。これも何かの縁だ。さっきから見てたが手数料。
wait, they actually worship her in this world as well?
エリス様のご加護ってやつだ。でもいくら熱心な信者でも女神を名乗っちゃいけないよ。
Wow. It actually works?
ありがとうございます。女神だって信じてもらえなかったんですけど、ついでに言うと、エリスは私の後輩の女神なんですけど、私、後輩の女神の信者の人に同情されて、お金もらっちゃったんですけど。
I wonder if Ares is the girl who took her position.
登録料持ってきました。お姉さんは俺たちと目を合わせたがらない気がした。
Why? Was she looking?
冒険者には各職業というものがございます。そしてこれが登録カード。冒険者がどれだけの討伐を
do. Interesting.
これであなた方のステータスがわかりますので、
Wow.
数値に応じてなりたい職業を選んでくださいね。
来た来た。ここで俺の凄まじい潜在能力が明らかになって。
No ability, no talent at all, right?
はい、ありがとうございます。佐藤和馬さんですね。どれも普通ですね。知力がそこそこ高い以外は、あれ、幸運が非常に高いですね。
Luck extraordinary.
あんま
Hi.
り必要ない数値なんで、
Maybe a Rook-based character?
幸運があるなら商売人とかになることをおすすめしますが。
おい、いきなり冒険者人生否定されたぞ。どうなってんの？
I mean, there's luck-based Rook characters as well.
まあ、レベルを上げれば転職が可能ですし。
ですよね。最弱職か。
知力が平均より低いのと
Intelligence.
全てのステータスが大幅に平均値を超えてます。
Okay, so you guys are like the perfect match and pairing for each other.
すごいなんてものじゃないですよ。知力を必要とされる魔法使い職は無理ですが、それ以外なら何だってなる。
Not a mage?
ソードマスター、アークプリースト、最初からほとんどの上級職に。そうね、女神って職業がないのが残念だけれど、私の場合、仲間を癒すアークプリーストかしら。アークプリーストですね。
Alright.
あらゆる回復魔法と支援魔法を使いこなし、前衛に出ても問題ない強さを誇る万能職ですよ。
I wonder when they're talking about intelligence here, do they actually mean the,
冒険者ギルドへようこそ、アクア様。スタッフ一同、今後の活躍を期待しています。いきなりアークプリーストなんてとんでもないですね。
I guess, as I was saying, intelligence typically is matched with your magical abilities, right?
今日から冒険者生活よ、カズマ。
お前心底嫌がってただろ。
そうだったかしら。
まあ何にせよ、ここまではキャラメイキングみたいなものだ。今やっとここから俺たちの冒険が始まるんだ。
Okay, this is starting out much more normal than I was expecting, actually. Okay, working odd jobs for money. Okay, so we're just fast forwarding through this? What am I watching right now? Alright, so it's just like, what, 1 month later?
何よ。
いや、待ってくれ。
どうしたの？寝る前のトイレ行き忘れた？暗いしついて行ってあげる。
And these two are just completely fine with each other nowadays.
すいません。労働者やりに来たんじゃないぞ。
お、そうだったわ。
And you're still in that jumpsuit right now?
必要もない。そんな現実的なこと知りたくなかったぜ。毎度あり。
And he's like, ah, it's okay. I get to hang out with a cute girl.
なんでもない。
私考えたんだけど、ちょっと遠出して討伐クエストに行きましょうよ。
俺らレベル1だぞ。装備も揃ってないのに。
大丈夫、この私がいるからにはサクッと終わるわよ。期待してちょうだい。
ものすごく不安なんだが。
私を誰だと思ってるの？
そうだよな。一応お前、女神だもんな。
任せて。
こうして本当に、一から俺たちの冒険が改めて始まった。
君と見た世界。
Alright. And I do know this song as well. Fantastic Dreamer, right? By Machiko! Wait, is Kazuma gonna stay in that jumpsuit, like, all this time? Wow, he does. Alright. Ooh. Alright. Looks fun. Shitty view. Alright. Alrighty, so there we have the first episode of KonoSuba. So definitely we can see that it's a little bit unusual in the way that it's progressing its story, right? Considering the very end of this episode where they spent more or less most of the time just doing some odd jobs and trying to make some money so that they can live on, even though they're blowing a lot of the money away by, you know, drinking and having nice food and all that. Whereas if they were serious about it, they should probably try to save up money to buy some equipment and whatnot, right? But yeah, beyond that, what can I say about this, right? So, let me try to go through the I guess usual stuff, right? So first of all, okay, we got to the Adventurers Guild, and so this is a story where the protagonist is not OP in any way. By the way, I was kind of bummed out that he didn't choose Merchant with the suggestion of the Guild Girl, right? There's honestly so little works that focus on the main character perhaps having a main occupation as a merchant. One of my favorite web novels of all time, which is a Chinese web novel by the name of Blasphemy. It features the main character basically trying to become a merchant, although of course along the way he does eventually learn some other abilities, magic, fighting, and all that, just to make things more interesting. But at his core, he was still a merchant. He tried to apply his knowledge of the modern world inside the isekai, inside the fantasy world, try to gain money, and with it gain influence, gain power, gain great equipment, open up lots of opportunities and whatnot, right? I've always liked the series where the people who are isekai actually try and actively use their real world knowledge to gain an upper edge on others. Otherwise, why make an isekai, right? So I do hope that that is something that Kazuma is able to go and do going forward. Having high intelligence and high luck, that's also something quite neat for me. Even personally, when I play RPGs, I typically play mage characters. I do min-maxing and all that whatnot. But in terms of a role playing, style, I do quite enjoy high luck characters very much. I feel like the unpredictability of them gives the stories a lot more. It makes them a lot more fun, let's just say. So if you are going for the flare angle, and in terms of making the story interesting, I do think that having high luck is nice. Now I'm not really sure how all of this actually is going to be implemented within the actual series. Like, this could easily be a case where they mention the stats and attributes and distribution of abilities and whatnot in the first episode, and then later on completely forget about the system, right? That's also entirely a possibility. I'm just saying though, I do hope that they can maybe eventually work some kind of stuff related with these sort of stat checks, let's just say. What else? So, I think I jumped head first into the into after being isekai, but let's talk a little bit about the reincarnation scene, right? Where Kazuma first met Aqua, and they were having that entire discussion about what to choose and whatnot, which eventually led to Aqua's demise, right? So as I was saying there, nowadays a lot of the works that I do enjoy are more meta works, and when I say meta, I mean the case where the protagonist is someone who actually reads these kinds of web novels and is familiar with this concept of reincarnation, and knowing that there's lots of novels, web novels, different works that deal with this type of situation, and having that knowledge to try and game the system in order to provide themselves a hefty advantage going forward. Yeah, it makes them slightly OP in a lot of ways, but it's fun seeing people try to go around the normal rules of the genre, let's say. And of course, there are more edgy ones as well, ones which really try to I'm not going to go into that too much, but I also enjoy the ones that maybe are a bit more darker, whatnot. Still in the same kind of genre, knowing how to game the system, knowing that there is this sort of reincarnation system being there, and trying to do something about it, let's just say. So there are, I do enjoy works that try to actively go against the system, even though they are reincarnated and whatnot. Trying to make an enemy of the deity or the god that is in control of the system, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, obviously looking at this episode, this is going to be more of a comedy, more of the fluffy kind of stuff, right? In fact, I don't even know if it's going to have an eventual main story here. I have heard that a lot of people consider this sort of like a slice of life comedy set in a fantasy setting. However, considering that it is a pretty long-running series, I do think that it will eventually have a main arc as well. And sure, don't spoil me if the answer is yes or no, but I guess that's just something that we can try and expect, right? Because don't get me wrong, I do like stuff that deals with comedy, over the top comedy and whatnot, but I also, one of the things I do enjoy about these kind of works is when they can flip the switch and turn serious also. I always bring up Gintama as one of my inspirations for, or one of my, how can I say it, one of my best examples of this sort of genre done right, where it's simultaneously very, very funny, over the top kind of comedy, and yet it can just on a dime flip it and then turn into a very serious kind of story arc. So perhaps KonoSuba is going to be something like that. I don't know, but we'll see going forward. Beyond that, what else to talk about from this episode? I guess I did like the. Well, I guess like isn't a way to go about it, but I don't know if it's deliberate or not. Like, if the author deliberately tried to fast forward all of this, or was the anime just trying to save time, but the ending there where they fast forward through time and basically showed Kazuma and Aqua getting quite along, considering everything that happened up to the midpoint of this episode, right? So now they're basically in sync with each other. They seem to have no problem staying by each other and whatnot. I guess it's nice. We don't need to see too much drama in regards to this. Yeah, and really, I think my initial impression of this is it just reminds me of some very old school type of style, right? Like, I know it's relatively recent. It's 2000. The light novel came out in 2013, right? And the anime itself came out 2016. But I'm just saying, it reminds me a lot of the RPGs of the 90s, the Japanese RPGs of the 90s, for some reason. Maybe because of the setting is just so. Even though it itself is trying to style itself as a parody work, the meat of it, right, the world itself, just seems very old school in a sort of way, the old school fantasy kind of setting. So that is nice, I guess. It definitely gives me a lot of nostalgia, this kind of stuff. So I guess that is a plus for me as of right. But yeah, anyways, I'm sure that in the next episode we'll see more and more of the true colors of this anime. Right, so far it's fun, I guess, but nothing particularly outstanding so far. So we shall see, right? I mean, a lot of people love it. It has to be outstanding in some sort of way, right? Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. I will see you guys next time as well, and perhaps I will be putting up another poll later once I confirm more and more of the different animes are going to be delayed and whatnot, but just stay tuned, right? So, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.